It's okay, you can giggle.
I want to play. There it goes.
Made Dawn's day. Here in September in mid-Michigan, I'm going to go ahead and say the Baldwin area, I have 6 different non-gilled mushrooms to show you. One here is the painted Suellus. It's associated with white pine. Here's another Suellus americanus, which is nicknamed the chicken fat, which is also white pine. And then we have the dotted stalk Cilius, which is associated with white pine. The Suellus species are usually associated with conifers or pines, either or. A chestnut bolete, which is a gyroporus, usually a pithy or hollow stalk. White, very tight pores underneath. We have the hedgehog, Hydenum repandum, and it has teeth, not pores. These you remove before you eat it. Delicious Northwoods mushroom. Does that one eat up?
Yep.
These are probably too old, huh? We'll cut them in half, we'll find out. Hopefully we found a bunch. There's a tiny one. Just a little tiny one right there. These tiny ones are the good eaters. See it?
Mm-hmm.
The woods feel shroomy.
Couple more.
Found a couple more. Still with the veil. I like them when they still have the veil. You peel the veil away and you know they're bug free. Yep, painted Suellus. These are the good ones when they got the veil. Perfect. I don't see any more immediately. Hedgehog? Yeah, it's still good. Nice. Looks like another one. Dawn finds the hedgehogs. I found the biggest flame chanterelle I've ever found.
That's
Nope.
not it.
Not it.
Not it.
3 hedgehogs. Nice. That's what happens when you don't bring your mushroom basket. I swear I didn't pre-scout. I swear it. Look at that beauty. bet this area is covered. I'm gonna keep looking. Oh, look at that. Look at this. We found a Smurf village. Snail bites, but we share with the snails. Always never bring your basket. Because when you never bring your basket, then you find more. There's some, you're pointing behind me, I'm pointing behind Dawn. Yeah, when you don't bring your bags, you run into them. All right. It's a little early in the year, but there's some velvet foot. Just a small cluster. Enoki on an elm tree. Very interesting. You see these babies coming up. I'm going to leave this flush. If I had a bigger flush, we'd have a enoki breakfast. I wanted to add this part to the video. This is a pigskin puffball. The outside surface of this is going to be pretty rough. And the larger these get, the more embellished they are. Now, pigskin puffballs are toxic. You can't eat them. But it's pretty easy to distinguish the difference between these puffballs and a pigskin puffball. If you cut a pigskin puffball in half, it'll be black on the inside. And of course, we know that you can't eat puffballs that aren't pure white on the inside. And then we have this beautiful violet court right here. I wanted to show everybody. Look how beautiful that is. Just an astounding mushroom. How embellished the base is. I wanted to show you guys the difference between a hawkwing or a sarcodon and a hedgehog. They both have teeth. Now, in some parts of the world, they do eat these. I'm told in Colorado there are different pockets where they're not too bitter to eat, and there are parts of Canada where they eat the hawkwing, or the sark, another nickname, sarcodon. Usually they don't overlap too much until you go north. And this one will be too bitter to eat. And this is the hedgehog, which we're going to have for supper. Scrape these teeth out, and then you eat it, as Rut Daniels would say. And then you wait. Anyway, hawkwing, sarcodon. I just wanted to show you guys the difference. They're both toothed fungus. These were a hard hunt. Mm-hmm. We're in a flower garden. Some of those are bigger than your hand, aren't they?
Yeah, they get pretty big. I guess most mushrooms do.
It's not often you find these pheasant backs in the fall. Usually I find them in the spring. Easy mushroom to identify. The fertile surface has pores, not gills. When you cut the dryad saddle or the pheasant back, it'll smell like watermelon rind or cucumbers. It always smells like cucumbers to me. When you eat this mushroom, it gets rubbery with age. When I see this spot starting, I usually don't eat the mushroom. We just stop to see if these were harvestable. But what I do is I cut the tips of the mushroom off. Just that portion there, the tender portions, and fry it in bacon grease and eggs and of course bacon. It's delicious. Hopefully we can find something a little more than the poor man's morchella though on this September hunt. This is a Goldilocks story. Earlier today, Dawn found a chicken that was too old, and then Dawn found a chicken that was too young. This one is just right. It looks like supper to me. The bigger ones are good for tea. These are just great. Beautiful. I just wanted to point out the male ego aspect of this. Dawn found the 80-mile-an-hour mushroom, and in the gray light, David Michael found the hen of the woods. Nice Gryphola there, just starting. I get excited every time we find these. These are elven saddles, Helvella crispa. I find these most often in Michigan. There are a couple of species, but I find this particular species most often in Michigan. Some books list them as eat with caution, and some books list them as unknown. The two times that I have eaten them, they were meh. So I generally don't pick them. This is just a demonstration. You can see how fluted this stalk is. The cap really isn't attached. I don't know whether you can see under there. But this is a good example of a saddle shape. Typically they're white, and as they get older they'll turn to another color. But they're a really neat mushroom. I think they're one of the most astounding mushrooms. Relatively easy to identify because of the fluted stalk. We won't be harvesting these, but I still get excited when I find them. The elven saddle, Helvella crispa. Michigan's September, October mushroom typically is when I find them, and I find them around oak. The more gravelly it is, the better. Let's go see if we can put something in our basket. This is a first for me. I looked up the hill and I spotted what appeared to be abortive, and then I looked down and Dawn says, there's one right there, abortive. And here are black trumpets right next to the abortive. I keep saying imp. And here is a shrimp of the woods right next to a non-aborted entoloma. So non-aborted entoloma, and then entoloma abortivum, which is shrimp of the woods. These are delicious. But growing amongst the black trumpets I thought was pretty cool. I wanted to add that. And it's always neat when you see something you've never seen before, which mushroom hunting happens a lot. One of my favorite mushrooms. It is relatively common, but it's hard to find because usually it's high up in the trees. It's really easy to identify, and what makes it easy to identify are these icicles. Now there are a couple other species of Hericium that have the same icicle structure. There's Hericium americanum, which is the bear's head tooth, and Hericium coriolotes, which we call the comb tooth, and sometimes it's called the coral tooth. This is lion's mane, Hericium internitia, and it's pom-pom shaped usually and grows high on wood. And the real distinguishing difference between lion's mane and any of the coral species is that these icicles always flow downward, whereas on coral they flow upward. Pretty easy mushroom to identify and is absolutely delicious. You can use a crab cakes recipe and just superimpose lion's mane for the crab. They're delicious. They're one of my favorites. This one we had to stack 2 painter's poles on top of one another to reach it, which during September and October here in southern Michigan, when Dawn and I hunt lion's mane, we typically carry for a walking stick an extendable painter's pole, which helps. It helped us get this one. Easy mushroom to identify. Lion's mane. Yeah. Pom-pom shaped. Icicles point downward. Heavy mushroom. Smells citrusy. Smells like heaven. This is why you always keep duct tape with you when you're hunting for lion's mane. Dawn uses a walking stick that is a painting pole, and I use a walking stick that is a painting pole. And every now and then you run into that lion's mane that wants to be taller than your painting pole. You duct tape them together. And then you can reach it, which I will show you in a second. Next comes the knife. So we're at about 22 foot right now. The knife's gone. Okay. So I guess we use my pocket knife. Usually we have a fillet knife somewhere along the trail. We dropped it. We'll have to find it so nobody gets hurt. All that for the delicious lion's mane. Is it worth it? Yes. All right, now I gotta figure out how to get it through those branches. You might have to stand over there to even see the lion's mane, darling. I have been accused of not being all there. Those alder branches are tough. Even with that, it's almost not. Whoops. Here it comes. The delicious lion's mane. Oh, that smells so fresh and fruity. Let's let the camera get a close-up of that. That one was a tough one. Tried to defeat me. Put that in my basket. Just go find some more. We came into a woods I didn't want to come into. Dawn wanted to come into it. I guess the woman's intuition is right. We got two really big pom-poms of lion's mane. And we just walked into fresh elm oyster. Elm oyster really isn't an oyster. You can see that the gills are not decurrent like they are on a regular oyster. This is Hypsogeisis ulmus. This is on a box elder tree. But the elm oyster is typically late into the year, and here in southern Michigan, Dawn and I find the elm oyster usually in October and even November when we're finding enokis. And anyway, these are a stinky mushroom, and you cook them for a while. But one good telltale is the stalk or the stem always feels really dry, even when it's wet. It's a really cool mushroom, and I cook them for quite a while. but the elm oyster, some people like, some people don't. But this is one I like, and that right there is professional harvesting. Smells great. The birch polypore, relatively easy mushroom to identify. This is one, there are a lot of mushrooms that grow on a birch tree, but they also grow on other species of tree. The birch polypore grows on birch only. And this node right here is where it attaches to the tree. And of course it is a polypore, so it doesn't have gills, it has pores. And this membrane right here, when it's fresh, is a really interesting part of the mushroom. If you cut it and it's still fresh, you can peel this membrane and it's sticky. You can use it as a band-aid and it'll hold itself. A lot of times I go all the way around with it. But the inside of the mushroom is antiviral, antifungal, anti-inflammatory. It can be used to extract bee stings, it can be used in small scratches, cuts, and wounds. What I do with this mushroom is I slice it in thin slices and make a tea for immune system. I wanted to add that part to this video, the birch polypore. Well, our September video was definitely interesting. It was one of the oddest September foragings I've ever had. I kept looking for the giant puffball and a few other mushrooms that I thought we were going to see. We didn't see any honeys. We didn't see any giant puffballs. It was just one of those peculiar Septembers, but we did have fun. We had fun making a video. We did get to find a lot of hericium, more this season than I found in the previous seasons. This particular tree I've been coming to for 11 years and harvesting a rare mushroom that I personally think is delicious. It tastes a lot like a meaty portobello in my mind, and it's Fistulina hepatica, the ox tongue or the beefsteak. Now, typically this is a summer mushroom. It's not a fall mushroom or a late fall mushroom. Usually I'm finding this particular mushroom between July and August. And it's just starting. So we're also going to do a Halloween video. You'll have to check that out, because on our Halloween video I'm going to come back to this tree, and instead of trick-or-treating we're going to go mushroom hunting. So you have to check that video out when we upload it. But Fistulina hepatica, this is just starting. They grow on oak trees. Check out my video on the beefsteak polypore and you'll see what it is. But I kept hoping to find it in July, and then I hoped to find it in August, and then September passed and I still hadn't seen it, and I thought maybe this tree was just done. But hope you guys enjoyed the September video. We are going to do an October video, and we're also going to do the Halloween mushroom hunt that I told you about. Safe and happy foraging, guys.